Hello and welcome to the Koren Talmud Bavli. I'm your humble reader. I'm only reading. I might put in my own 2 cents worth, such as today's shir is brought to you by Schweppes. Tonic water with sugar. It's the best. I love it. Yeah. But they don't pay me anything, but I want to just mention, seriously, I want to mention my friend Yossi Chen. Yossi Chen is amazing. He really supports Limud Torah, and he's helped me tremendously over the past couple of years. I have tremendous hakaras hatov for Yossi Chen, my friend from the Tzemach Tzedek Shul in the old city of Jerusalem. So this shir is dedicated to Yossi and the whole Chen family. To Kol HaKavod. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol niyeh b'dvaro. Oh, I love that sugarless tonic. A wee bit of vodka in it, yeah. Maybe later. Okay. This is not my drunk DAF. If you want to see my drunk DAF, to go back about 7 years on my YouTube. This is my sober DAF. So here we go. We're learning Masechet Ta'anit. We are on. We're holding on DAF Chet Amud Bet. That's 8b. Kibbutz Geyasot Tzedakah Maaser Parnas Siman. Amar Rabbi Yochanan Gadol Yom Hageshamim Ki Yom Kibbutz Galuyot Shneamar Shuva Hashem Et Shivitenu Kafikim V'Negev. Hi Moshe, you're live. You're live on the fast DAF. We're learning Gemara Tainis, and you're live. Would you like to say something? Yes, this is Rabbi Kornfeld. Yes.
What DAF are you learning?
I'm just at the bottom of Chet Amud Beis, and we're going to, I'm about to read the DAF very fast in my Koren edition.
Okay, so I'm just going to listen for 1 minute.
Okay, I'm putting you here on speakerphone right here, and I'm going to start reading. Again, Kibbutz Gayasot Tzedakah Maaser Parnas Siman. Amar Rabbi Yochanan Gadol Yom HaGeshamim Ki Yom Kibbutz Galuyot Shneamar Shuva Adonai Et Shivitenu Ka'afikim B'Negev Ve'en Afikim Ela Matar Shneamar Vayirau Afikim Yam. So the Gemara cites 5 statements of Rabbi Yochanan in accordance with the following mnemonic: ingathering, armies, charity, tithe, sustainer. Those are the 5 subjects Rabbi Yochanan will say something about. Rabbi Yochanan said, the day of the rains is as great as the day of the ingathering of the exiles. As it is stated, turn our captivity, O Lord, as the streams in the dry land. And streams means nothing other than rain. As it said in the 2nd book of Shmuel, chapter 22, and the streams of the sea appeared. So streams of the sea, that's funny because it doesn't seem to mean rain, but it means water, close enough. Okay, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Gadol Yom HaGeshamim she'afilu geyasot poskot bo, shene'amar, Tzalamea Raveh, Nachet Gedudea. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Ein HaGeshamim ne'atzarin ela bishvil poske tzedakah barabim ve'en notnin, shene'amar nisi'im v'ruach v'geshem ayin, ish mithalel b'matat shaka. Oh, there's a problem here. Amar and Rabbi Yochanan said the day of rain is great, as even armies stop fighting on it due to the rain and the mud. As it stated, watering its ridges abundantly, settling down its furrows is gedudea. The word gedudim, meaning for armies, it means both furrows and armies. It's spelled exactly with the same meaning. This alludes to the idea. It's spelled identically with each of the different meanings. This alludes to the idea that during the rainy season, soldiers become entrenched in place. And then Rabbi Yochanan further said, and this is a little scary, rain is withheld only due to those who pledge charity in public, but don't give it. As it is stated, as vapors and wind without rain, so is he who boasts of a false gift. That's Proverbs chapter 25. So this is, if you say you're going to give charity in public, it says, and you don't actually pay up. Like if you go to the shul and you get an aliyah, you say, I'm going to give $50 for the aliyah, and you don't do it, then you take some responsibility for a drought. So the note, Rabbi Steinsaltz mentioned something about this. You see, Rabbi Steinsaltz brings Rashi. Rashi explains that Rabbi Yochanan is referring to people who pledge charity specifically in public, as the pledge might have been stated to impress others, and they are liable to neglect it. The only reason they said, I'm going to give charity, is to impress other people, but they don't really want to give. So, by contrast, it's very unusual for somebody who pledges charity in private to fail to donate the money, as if he did not intend to fulfill his pledge. As if he did not intend to fulfill his pledge, he would not have said it in the first place. Others suggest that in response to the disappointment suffered by the poor after one has made a public pledge of charity and failed to fulfill it, like there's a poor guy on the shul and he thinks, oh, I'm going to get some food or money out of this, and then he doesn't get it, then because of this bringing tsaras, disturbing a poor person, that God in kind causes the clouds and wind to disperse, which causes the world a corresponding disappointment when the rain they were promised fails to fall. So just as the way the poor person expected the charity and it didn't come, so too the nation expects rain from God and it doesn't come. That's the Maharsha. That's also Rashi on Mishle, Proverbs chapter 25. Now we go to Daf Tet Amud Aleph, 9 Amud A. Asar ta'aser. Aser bishvil shetit asher. A tithe shall you tithe, te'aser. This phrase can be interpreted homiletically. Take a tithe, aser, so you will become wealthy, titasher, in the merit of the mitzvah. Moshe, you still here? You still here, Moshe? Okay. Ashkache Rabbi Yochanan liyanoka deresh Lakish. Amarle emali psukech. Amarle aser te'aser. Amarle mai aser te'aser. Amarle aser bishvil shetit asher. Amarle manalach. Amarle zil naseh. Rabbi Yochanan found the young son of Reish Lakish. He said to the boy, recite me your verse, meaning read me the verse you studied today in Cheder. The boy said to him, a tithe shall you tithe. The boy further said to Rabbi Yochanan, but what is the meaning of the phrase, a tithe shall you tithe? So Rabbi Yochanan said to him, this verse means take a tithe so you'll become wealthy. So the boy said back to Rabbi Yochanan, from where do you derive that this is so? And Rabbi Yochanan said, go and test it. Go and see if it works. Give a tithe and see if you can become rich. So Rabbi Steinsaltz says, Rabbi Yochanan's interpretation of the verse generally understood as being based on the fact that Hebrew letters shin and sin are written with the same character with or without vowels. It's the same form of the letter, just the vowel is different. So one is shin, one is sin. Accordingly, the second verb can be read with the vowel placement of shin as te'aser, you'll become te'asher, become wealthy, rather than the vowel placement of sin as te'aser, you shall tithe. In other words, the verse guarantees that a person who carefully tithes his produce will be blessed with wealth. Alternatively, both verbs are read literally as referring to tithing. Tithe your produce properly so that you may be blessed with plenty and you will be able to tithe your produce many times again. That's Rabbeinu Hananel and the Maharsha. Amarle umis share lenasuye lakadosh baruch hu. Vaktiv lo tenasu et Hashem. Amar le hachi amar Rabbi Hoshaya. Chutz mizo sheneamar haviu et kol hamaaser el bet otzar vihi teref beveti uvachanuni na bazot amar Hashem tzvakot im lo eftach lachem et arobot hashamayim vaharikoti lachem beracha ad bli dai. The boy said to him, and is it permitted to test the Holy One? Blessed be He. But isn't it written, you shall not test the Lord your God? So Rabbi Yochanan said to the boy that Rabbi Hoshaya said as follows, it is prohibited to test God in any way, except in this case of tithes. And as it said, the verse says, bring the whole tithe into the storeroom, that there may be food in my house, and test me now by this, says the Lord of hosts. If I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour out for you blessing, that there shall be more than sufficiency. God says, test me in this regard. Specifically in the 3rd chapter of Malachi. My adli dai, Amar Rami Bar Chama Amar Rav Ad Yivlu Siftotechem Milomor Dai. Amar Le I Havas Mate Hatam Lahai Pesuka Lo Havet Tzarichna Lach V'Lehoshaya Rabach. So there's a song that they sing about this. What's the song? Amar Rabbi Chamarav Ad Sheyivlu Siftotechem Milomor Dai. Adli dai, adli dai, adli dai. La da dum 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 dum. Veharikuti lachem beheracha. Adli dai, adli dai, adli dai, bli dai, bli dai. That was a horrible rendition of it, but that's harikoti lachem beracha adli dai. For you a blessing that there shall be more than sufficiency. So in relation to this verse, the Gemara asks, what is the meaning of the phrase that there shall be more than sufficiency? Ad bli dai. Rami Bar Chama said that Rav said it means that the abundance will be so great that your lips will be worn out, similar to the word beli for saying enough, die. Ad sheyivlu siftotechem milomar dai. Ad bli dai, bli dai, bli dai. Returning to the above incident, the Gemara adds that the boy said to Rabbi Yochanan, your claim appears explicitly in the verse. If I had arrived there at this verse, I would have not needed you or Hoshaya, your teacher, as I could have understood it on my own. So that boy had a little bit of chutzpah, but he knew how to, it was a real mensch actually. He wasn't afraid to stand up before the Gadol Hador, Rabbi Yochanan. Okay, so he says, so yes, the chutzpah, the holy chutzpah, I'd say holy chutzpah, because we're talking about Torah. Gemara says, the boy said to Rabbi Yochanan, your claim appears explicitly in a verse. If I had arrived there at this verse, I wouldn't need you or I would have understood it by myself. Okay, that's an interesting little scene from 2,000 years ago. But to Ashkache Rabbi Yochanan liyanoke deresh lakish diyateva amar ivelet adam tesalef darko v'al Hashem yizaf libo. The Gemara relates another story about the precociousness of this child. And furthermore, on a different occasion, Rabbi Yochanan found the young son of Reish Lakish when he was sitting and studying and was reciting the verse, the foolishness of man perverts his way and his heart frets against the Lord. Proverbs chapter 19. This verse means that when someone sins and every manner of mishap befalls him, he complains and wonders why these things are happening to him. So, Yativ Rabbi Yochanan v'ka matme. Amar, mi'ika midi diktiv be'ketuve delo remizi boraita. Amar le atu ha milo remizi v'aktiv v'yetze libam v'yecherdu. Ish el achiv lemor v'yetze libam v'yecherdu. Ish el achiv lemor mazot asa Elohim lanu. Rabbi Yochanan sat down and wondered about the verse, saying, is there anything that is written in the writings that is not alluded to in the Torah? Is this pasuk in the Navi or in the Ketuvim not already alluded to in the Torah? He can't. It's like everything in the Navi and the Ketuvim have some allusion to something in the Chumash. So Rabbi Yochanan, he couldn't think of any hint of this idea in the Torah itself. Again, what was this? The foolishness of man perverts his way and his heart frets against the Lord. Again, someone who sins in every manner of mishap, and he complains and wonders why these things are happening to him. So the child came to him and said, Rabbi Yochanan couldn't figure it out. The child said to him, would you say this idea is really not alluded to in the Torah? But isn't it written regarding Joseph's brothers, and their heart failed them, that they turned trembling to one another, saying, what is it that God has done to us? This verse exemplifies the notion that one sins and encounters troubles, he wonders why it is happening to him. Dal ene v'chazabe, atya ime apikte, amrale ta mikame, dela le'avad lach, keda'avad lavuch. Impressed by the youth's wisdom, Rabbi Yochanan raised his eyes and stared at the boy. At this point, the boy's mother came and took him away, saying to him, "Come away from Rabbi Yochanan, so that he does not do to you as he did to your father." Reish Lakish, the boy's father, died during a heated dispute with Rabbi Yochanan over a matter of Torah. The argument ended with an offended look from Rabbi Yochanan, which caused Reish Lakish's death, and the boy's mother was afraid that her son might suffer the same fate. So let's take a side here and look at the young son of Reish Lakish. Reish Lakish married the sister of Rabbi Yochanan, who was his principal teacher, as well as his regular study partner and disputant. Their frequent disputes and discussions helped broaden and increase their understanding of the Torah. Nevertheless, on one occasion, Rabbi Yochanan grew angry with his student and gazed on him with such a severe countenance that Reish Lakish died. Reish Lakish left behind several children, both boys and girls, and the boy mentioned here was presumably his youngest. Based on the subject matter of the discussion and the style of the exchange, he was probably around 7 or 8 years old. His comments attest both to his mental acuity and to his youthful impudence. Apparently, this youth died at an early age, as we find no mention of any sons of Reish Lakish among the subsequent generations. I hope it wasn't because of Reish Lakish a second time. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, matar bishvil yachid, parnasa bishvil rabim, matar bishvil yachid, diktiv yiftach Hashem lacha et otzoro hatov, latet matar artzacha, parnasa bishvil rabim, diktiv hineni mamtir lachem lechem. Although, after the brief digression, the Gemara turns to the fifth in the series of statements by Rabbi Yochanan concerning rain. Rabbi Yochanan said, rain falls even for the sake of an individual in response to the petition of a single person in need of rain, whereas a blessing of sustenance comes only for the sake of the many. Rain falls even for the sake of an individual, as it is written, the Lord will open for you his good treasure, the heavens, and give the rain of your land. The fact that this verse is written in the second person singular demonstrates that rain can fall even for the sake of an individual. Rabbi Yochanan further proves that sustenance comes for the sake of many. As it is written, behold, I will cause the rain, bread to fall from heavens for you. Exodus chapter 16. Here God is referring to the people in the plural form. Meitive Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda Omer. Shalosha parnasim tovim amdu Yisrael eluhen Moshe va'Aharon u'Miriam. Shalosh matanot tovot nitnu al yadam ve'eluhen be'er va'anan u'man. Be'er bischut Miriam, amud anan bischut Aharon, man bischut Moshe. Meta Miriam nistaleka be'er shne'amar v'tamad sham Miriam. U'ketiv batre v'lo haya mayim la'eda v'chazra bischut shnehen. The Gemara raised an objection from a Braita. Rabbi Yossi, son of Rabbi Yehuda, says, the three good sustainers rose up for the Jewish people during the Exodus from Egypt, and they are Moses, Aaron, and Miriam. And three good gifts were given from heaven through their agency, and these are they: the well of water, the pillar of cloud, and the manna. He elaborates. The well was given to the Jewish people in the merit of Miriam, the pillar of cloud in the merit of Aaron, and the manna in the merit of Moses. When Miriam died and the well disappeared, as it is stated, and Miriam died there, 20th chapter of the book of Numbers. And it says thereafter, the next verse, and there was water for the congregation. But the well returned in the merit of both Moses and Aaron. Met Aaron nistalku ananei kavod shneimar vayishama haknani melech Arad ma shemua shama Shama shemet Aharon v'nistalku ananei kavod. Ukasavor nitna lo reshut lehilachem b'Yisrael. V'hainu diktiv v'yiru kol eda ki gava Aharon. When Aaron died and the clouds of glory disappeared, it is stated in the Canaanite, the king of Arad heard. What did he hear? He heard that Aaron had died and the clouds of glory had disappeared. And he thought that the Jewish people were no longer protected by heaven, and therefore he had been given permission to go to war against the Jewish people. And this disappearance of the clouds is the meaning of that which is written, and all the congregation saw that Aaron was dead. Ki Aaron, ki gava Aharon. So what is this ki? Amar Rabbi Abahu, Al tikra veyiru ela vayirau. Vayirau kol eda ki gava Aaron. It says all the congregation saw that Aaron was dead. That's vayiru. But Rabbi Abawa says, don't say saw, say rather were seen. Vayirau. Amar Rabbi Abahu, al turka vayiru ele vayirau. Kedarish Resh Lakish damar Resh Lakish ki meshamesh ba'arba lashonot. I dilma ela indaha. So again, why did we mention the verse also has the word ki? So Rabbi Abawa said, don't read the verses and they saw vayiru, rather as, and they were seen, vayirau, as the clouds which had concealed the Jewish people were temporarily removed and the Jewish people were seen. This is as Resh Lakish taught, the term ki actually has four distinct meanings. If, perhaps, but, and because. Or that. If, perhaps, but, and because, which could also be that. According to this interpretation, the verse would be rendered, and all the congregation was seen, ki, because Aaron was dead, rather than that Aaron was dead. It's the same thing. Okay, anyhow, you go figure it out. Ki has four meanings. In his Aramaic translation of the Torah, Onkelos consistently translates the Hebrew term ki with the Aramaic ari. However, it can be argued that ari has the same wide spectrum of meanings as ki itself, so that Onkelos intentionally maintains the ambiguity of the original Hebrew. Again, ki, kaf yud in Hebrew, could mean dilma, ella, and daha, which is if, perhaps, but, and because. Daha is because. Chazru shneim b'zchut Moshe. Meit Moshe nistalku kulan shneamar va'achid shloshet roim b'yerach echad. V'ki b'yerach echad metu. V'alo Miriam meta b'nisan. V'Aaron ba'av v'Moshe ba'adar. Ele melamed shenitpatlu shalosh matanot tovot shenitnu al yadan v'nistalku kulanu b'yerach echad. The Braita continues, both the well and the clouds of glory returned in the merit of Moses. However, when Moses died, all of them disappeared, as it is stated, and I cut off 3 shepherds in 1 month. But did the 3 shepherds really die in 1 month? Didn't Miriam die in the Nisan and Aaron and Av and Moshe and Adar? Rather, the verse teaches that with the death of Moses, 3 good gifts that were given through their agency were annulled, and all 3 gifts disappeared in 1 month, which made it seem as though all 3 leaders died at the same time. Alma eshkachan parnasa bishvil yachid. Shiny Moshe kevan de rabim hubai karabim dame. The Gemara explains the difficulty from the Braita. Apparently, we find that sustenance can come for the sake of an individual. As the Braita states, the sustenance in the form of manna came only for the sake of Moses. The Gemara answers, Moses is different, since he requested the manna for many, and therefore he was considered like the many, and not as an individual. Rav Huna bar Manoach v'Rav Shmuel bar Idi v'Rav Chia mivastanya havu shchiche kameh de Rava. Kinach nafshe de Rava atu lekameh de Rav Papa. Kol hemata hava amar lahu shmaita v'lo hava mistabra lahu. Havu meramzi ahadede chalash date akruye bechelme va'achid et shloshet haroim. Lemachar ki havu mifteru mineh amar lahu lezlu rabanan bishlam. The Gemara relates the story concerning the aforementioned verse from Zechariah. The verse saying, and I cut off the 3 shepherds in 1 month. Va'achid et shloshet haroim b'yerach echad. So about this verse, Rav Huna bar Manoach, Rav Shmuel bar Yidi, and Rav Chia from Vastanya, which sounds like somewhere in Russia, I doubt it, were often found before Rava, and they were among his most distinguished students. When Rava died, they came before Rav Papa to learn from him. However, as they were great sages, whenever Rav Papa would say halacha that did not sound reasonable to them, they would gesture to each other that Rav Papa was not equal in stature to Rava. Rav Papa was offended by their behavior. Wouldn't you be? A verse was read to Rav Papa in a dream, and I cut off the 3 shepherds in 1 month. The next day, when he took their leave from them, Rav Papa said to them, "May the rabbis go in peace." A hint that this would be their final parting. Rav Papa thought that the sages would die as punishment for their behavior, and he would never see them again. Don't be rude, Papa. Rav Shimi Barashi have a shechiach kamed Rav Papa, have a makshe letuva. Yom echad chazer dinafal alape. Shma'ed amar Rachmana litzlan mikisufa de Shimi kabel ale shtikuta betu lo akshele. The Gemara relates a similar incident. Rav Shimi Barashi was found before Rav Papa often and would raise many objections against the opinions of Rav Papa. One day, Rav Shimi Barashi saw Rav Papa fall on his face after prayer. He heard him say, "May the merciful one save me from the embarrassment of Shimi." And as a result, Rav Shimi Barashi resolved to be silent and not raise any further objections against Rav Papa, as he saw how greatly they pained his teacher. Now, the question everyone is, everybody wants to know the answer. Did those 3 sages actually die? It doesn't say. So let's look at the notes. Lizlu Rabbanan Bashlama. That's the Rav Papa says to the 3 sages, Huna bar Menuach, Shmuel bar Di, and Chia bar Vastina, who were students of Rava. And then when Rava died, they came to Rav Papa. And whatever Rav Papa would say to Halacha that didn't sound reasonable, they would gesture each other that, okay, but he's not Rava, he's not like our teacher. No. So Rav Papa said, they're going to be in trouble, so you better go in peace. So Rabbi Steinsaltz adds, this story can be understood in the light of the statement in the tractate Brachot, that someone who bids farewell to a colleague should say, go in peace, whereas to the dead one says, go in peace. When Rav Papa said to the younger sages, may the rabbis go in peace, he was using the formula for taking leave of the dead. But they're the same, so how would you know? I guess maybe the intention. I don't know. Let's just keep going. He felt that this was appropriate, and he interpreted his dream as a divine revelation that the 3 sages would soon pass away. According to a variant reading, found in some texts in the Talmud and other sources, Rav Papa actually said, may the rabbis go in peace, the correct formula for the living. Oh, sorry. Go in peace. No, it should say, when you bid farewell to a college, you say, may the rabbis go in peace, and the dead, you say, go in peace. Rest in peace, right? So according to a variant reading found in some texts, Rav Papa actually said, may the rabbis go in peace, the correct formula used for the living. If so, Rav Papa understood the quote from the verse in Zechariah as a question. Am I to cut off these 3 shepherds? Consequently, Rav Papa told his younger colleagues to go in peace, as he didn't want them to be punished on his account. That's the Shita Mukubetzit's reading. Or the Sfas Emes says he was hinting to them that it would be safer for them to go and study somewhere else. Oh, we're getting up to the 30-minute cutoff. So we're going to say it all in one breath. Af Rish Lakish Savar Matar Bishvil Yachid Amar Rish Lakish Minayin LeMatar Bishvil Yachid Diktiv Shalu MeHashem Matar Be'et Malkosh Hashem Oseh Chazizim Umatar Geshem Yiten Lahem Leish Esev Basadeh. The Gemara returns to the issue of rain, and Rish Lakish also maintains that rain can fall for the sake of an individual. As Rish Lakish said, from where is it derived that the rain falls even for the sake of an individual? As it is written, ask of the Lord rain at the time of the last rain, even of the Lord who makes thunderclouds, and he will give them showers of rain for a man grass in the field. One man. Yachol lakol. Talmud Lamar leish. V'tanya ish lakol ish yachol lakol sadatav. Talmud Lamar sadeh. Is sadeh yachol lakol sadeh. Talmud Lamar esav. One might have thought that the rain falls for the sake of all of the Jewish people. The verse therefore states for a man, for the needs of an individual. As it was stated further, it was further taught in a Braita, if rain falls for a man, one might have thought that the rain is for all his fields. Therefore, the verse says field, which indicates that at a time when the rain fell only on one field. If it rains on one field, one might have thought that the rain is for the entire field. That's why the verse says grass. Rain can fall for the sake of even a single plant of grass in the field. Oh, that's a beautiful medrash. Ki hadarav Daniel bar katina. Havale hahi ginta. Kol yoma hava azil v'sayerla. Amar ha mishme bayamai. Vaha meshrala bayamai. Vata mitra v'kamashki kol hecha. Maya. This is like the practice of Rav Daniel bar Katina, who had a certain garden. Every day he would go to it and inspect it to see what it needed. He would say, this bed requires water, and this bed does not require water, and rain would come and water everywhere that requires water, but nowhere else. What I really like about this is we have a chacham in the Talmud who has a garden, and he takes care of his garden. In the yeshivas, in the yeshiva world, I don't suppose they understand somewhat the concept of a garden. Maybe because they talk about it in the Shas and the Halacha. But how many actually got their hands dirty planting in the garden? Only Rabbeinu Tam, Rashi. They made wine. They had vineyards. So yeshiva guys, get your rabbi to let you out of the yeshiva for a few hours to work in the garden. It might be a greater mitzvah. Who am I and what am I to say? I'll be putting cherem for this, but I say leave the yeshiva and go garden for an hour, and then get back to yeshiva. Okay, so the Gemara continues. My Hashem oseh chazizim. Amar Rabbi Yossi b'Rabbi Chanina melamed shekol tzadik HaKadosh Baruch Hu oseh lo chaziz b'fnei atzmo. My chazizim. Amar Rabbi Yehuda porchot. Amar Rabbi Yochanan siman lematar porchot. My porchot. Amar Papa Eva Kalisha Tote Eva Semichta. With regard to the aforementioned verse, the Gemara asks, what is the meaning of the phrase, the Lord who makes thunderclouds? Rabbi Yossi, son of Rabbi Chinya, said, this teaches that for every righteous person, the Holy One, blessed be He, prepares a separate thundercloud. The Gemara asks, what is the precise meaning of thunderclouds? Rabbi Yehuda said, flying clouds. Rabbi Yochanan said a sign of approaching rain is flying clouds. The Gemara asks, what are flying clouds? Rav Papa said a flying cloud is a thin cloud under a thick cloud. Flying clouds, okay, porchot is flying clouds. Porchot, for clouds to produce rain, they must possess a specific vertical thickness. Towering clouds of this kind are called cumulonimbus. Cumulonimbus clouds. Cumulonimbus. These clouds can produce thunderstorms and heavy downpours that can result in flooding. So, Ula, Ikla Levavel. Chaza porchot, flying clouds. Cumulonimbus clouds. Amarlahu panu mane, vahashta ate mitra. Lesof lo ate mitra. Amar ki hechi mishakri bavlai. Ki hechi mishakri bavlai. Ki hechi di mishakri bavlae. Haki mishakri mitrayu. Ki hechi di mishakri bavlae. Haki mishakri mitrayu. The Gemara says that Ula happened to come to Babylon. He saw flying clouds, so he said to the local residents, put away your vessels as the rain is coming now. Ultimately, despite the presence of the flying clouds that should have rained, it didn't rain. So he said, just as Babylonians are liars, so too their rains are liars. As flying clouds are a reliable sign of rain in Eretz Israel, but not in Babylonia. Babylonian clouds can lie. Your Iraqi clouds. Here in Israel, we have clouds that tell the truth. You Iraqi clouds, something else. Let's not start a war over it, okay? Okay. Tanya, Rabbi Eliezer Omer, Kol olam kolo mimeme okianus hushote. Shenemar ve'ed ya'ale min ha'aretz v'ishkat kol pnei adama. Amar lo Rabbi Yoshua, v'lo mime okianus meluchin hen. Amar lo mimatkin ve'avim. The Gemara discusses the source of rain. It's taught in the Breita that Rabbi Eliezer said the entire world drinks from the waters of the ocean, the okeanos. That's okeanos is from the Greek word, the Aramaic okeanos. It comes from the Greek okeanos. One of whose meanings is the Great Sea, or the outer ocean surrounding the world, as opposed to the Mediterranean. So when the Greeks and the Talmud mentions okeanos, they're talking about the Atlantic, the Indian Ocean, Pacific, the other oceans besides the Mediterranean. So the Gemara discusses rain. It's taught in the Breita that Rabbi Eliezer said the entire world drinks from the waters of the ocean. That is to say, evaporated ocean water is the source of rain. As it is stated in Genesis chapter 2, and there went up a mist from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. Rabbi Yeshua said to him, but the waters of the oceans are salty, whereas rainwater is sweet. Rabbi Eliezer said to Rabbi Yeshua, the waters are sweetened in the clouds, or they fall to earth. Rabbi Yeshua Omer, Kol Olam Kolo Mimayim Elionim Hu Shoteh, Shneimar Limatar Hashamayim Tishteh Mayim, Elamani Makayem Ve'ed Yaleh Min Haaretz, Melamed שהעננים מתגברים ועולים לרקיע ופותחים פיהן כנוד ומקבלים מי מטר שנאמר יזוקו מטר לעדו. In contrast, Rabbi Yeshua said the entire world drinks from the upper water. The upper waters. As it is stated, and it drinks water from the rain as the rain of heavens come down. Deuteronomy 11:11. The Breita asks, but according to the opinion of Rabbi Yeshua, how do I uphold the verse? And there went up a mist from the earth. Rabbi Yeshua could answer that this verse teaches that the clouds grow stronger and rise to the firmament and open their mouths like a leather bottle and receive the rainwaters from above, as it is stated, for he draws away the drops of water which distills rain from his vapor. Book of Job, chapter 36. Umenukavot hen kichvara, baot umachashrot mayim al gabe karka, sheneamar charshat mayim ave shchakim, ve'en ben tipa letipa ela kimolonima, ללמדך שגדול יום הגשמים כיום שנבראו בו שמיים וארץ. And the clouds are perforated like a sieve, and they come and sprinkle water onto the ground, as it is stated, gathering of waters, thick clouds of the skies, 2 Samuel chapter 22. And between each and every drop there is only a hair's breadth, and yet each drop emerges individually. This serves to teach you that the day of rains is as great as the day on which heaven and earth were created. That is, rainfall is as miraculous as creation. שנאמר עושה גדולות ואין חקר, וכתיב הנותן מטר על פני הארץ, וכתיב להלן הלא ידעת, אם לא שמעת, אלוהי עולם השם, אין חקר לתבונתו, כתיב מכין הרים בכוחו. As it is stated with regard to the creation of the world, who does great things past finding out? Job 9. And as an example of this, it is written, who gives rain upon the earth. And it is written below, have you not known, have you not heard, that the everlasting God, the Lord, the creator of the ends of the earth, does not faint and is not weary. His discernment is past finding out. Past finding out. Ein cheker. The repetition of this past finding out indicates, ein cheker, indicates that rainfall is as wondrous as the creation of the world. The Gemara adds, as it is written in the psalm that deals with rainfall, who by your strength sets fast the mountains, who is girded about with might. Psalm 65. Kaman azla hadiktiv, mashke harim me'aliotav. Amar Rabbi Yochanan me'aliotav shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Kaman Rabbi Yeshua. The Gemara asks, in accordance with whose opinion is that verse which is written, whose waters, who God who waters the mountains from his upper chambers, in Psalm 104. And Rabbi Yochanan said this phrase indicates that the water comes from the upper chambers of the Holy One, blessed be He. In accordance with whose opinion is this statement? It is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yeshua, who maintains that the rain falls from above in the sky. But Rabbi Eliezer, kevan desalke lahata mashke aliotav kareluhu de'ilate mahache avak va'afar min hashamayim hechi mashkachadla ele kevan demidle lahatam min hashamayim karele v'hachinami desalke lahatam aliotav karele. The Gemara asks then Rabbi Eliezer, how does he explain this verse? Gemara answers, according to Rabbi Eliezer, since the clouds ascends there, so the heavens to the heavens. The verse, who waters the mountains from his upper chambers, calls and describes rainfall as descending from the heavens. As if you do not say so, with regard to the verse, powder and dust from heaven, Deuteronomy 28, verse 24. Avak va'afar min hashamayim. If you do not say so with regard to the verse powder and dust from the heavens, where do you find this phenomenon? What are we talking about? The rain falling from the heavens as opposed to from the upper chambers of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. It's Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yeshua says the rain falls from above the sky. So we want to figure out Mashke Harim Me'aliotav. Me'aliotav means the upper chambers of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And this is Rabbi Yeshua. The rain comes from Aliotav, the upper chambers. Rabbi Eliezer says, because the clouds go up to the upper chambers, the heavens, same thing. So the verse, who waters the mountains in his upper chambers, calls and describes rainfall as descending from the heavens. If you don't say so with regard to the verse, powder and dust from the heavens, then where do you find this phenomenon? Is there powder and dust in heaven? No. Rather, you must say that since dust rises up there, they're called dust from the heavens. So too, the clouds go up there, so they're called who waters the mountains from his upper chambers. Just as dust goes up and comes back down, so too clouds go up to the upper chambers in heaven and comes down as rain. Kaman azla hada amar Rabbi Chanina kones kaned me hayam noten be'otzarot tehomot mi garam le'otzarot sheyitmalu bar tehomot k'Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Yoshua hahu bibriato shel olam. The Gemara asks the following question: in accordance with whose opinion is it which Rabbi Chanina said concerning the verse, he gathers the waters of the sea together as a heap, he lays up the deep in storerooms, he gathers the water of the sea together in a heap, he lays up the deep in storerooms in Psalm 33. What caused the storerooms to be filled with produce? It was the deep, which is the source of the water that nourishes the produce. What's the deep? Tehomot. The Gemara answers, this explanation is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer. In other words, from deep in the earth, the water comes. Rabbi Yeshua, how does he explain the verse? The Rabbi Eliezer, this would make sense because Rabbi Eliezer said, that they come up from the deep going to the upper chambers. That's Rabbi Eliezer. And Rabbi Yeshua said, I was explaining it, Rabbi Yeshua says, Bribrioto shel olam, that it's telling about something else. When it said, the verse is not talking about rain. In the verse that says, Kones kened me'ayam noten be'otzarot tehomot, he gathers the waters of the sea together as a heap, he lays up the deep storeroom, the deep in storerooms, That's talking about the creation of the world. All of the waters were contained in the deep. But Rabbi Yeshua says, no, now it's after the creation of the world and it comes down from the heavens. So we're going to pause here. And Bezrat Hashem, tomorrow we're going to learn another DAF from the Koren Talmud Bavli. God bless.